was a bit of a tough draw last round, getting an international master.
Would I be right in saying that Peter hasn't played for ages?
No, he gave up for a number of years while he was a solicitor, but he has. He said he had been playing a lot recently.
All right, I didn't know.
So he's back in the flows. I'd noticed he won a few tournaments, and because I've known him from old, that we played many times when he used to play before. But lots of very, very interesting encounters. And in fact, just before the game, we were talking in the cafeteria, in the cafe, and he bought my book, but he bought it from the bookstore, not from me, which was no good. I was hoping you'd buy it.
Yes, I saw it on sale. I bought it from you, Andrew, and it looks a really good read.
Yeah. But fortunately, neither of you had the chance to look at it before you actually played me, so that didn't give any.
You could have played through all 250 games.
It wouldn't have helped.
In preparation.
So we're doing the Peter Large game, yep? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, knight f3.
Are you white or black?
I'm black.
Okay, do you want to see it from
Andrew's all right
side?
so far. No mistakes.
Knight f3. Knight f6. And he went b3, which after he played it, I realised I'd seen him playing that in other games, but I hadn't realised. So I thought I'd seen him. I know his style. He plays d4, c4, e3, bishop e3, bishop e2, and he does a normal, very solid setup with white. So I thought, on the spur of the moment, let's try and throw it slightly off balance. So I think you've got the thing hovering over the a pawn. That's the correct move. Yes, a5. So the idea is, if he plays bishop b2, I'm going to play a4. And then I might play e6, and I might then play a3 just to kick that bishop. The bishop is looking quite comfortable on b2, so just kick it offline and make it awkward. So I've had people. I've done it in not for a few years. I think there's a couple of games in the book with it where they've taken ba, and then my rook has swung over to the king side. Rook takes pawn.
Wow.
And then they played something like knight c3 or something, and then I've gone rook b4 first, and then they play bishop a3 or something, and then I've gone rook g4. And I've had that type of game before.
Yeah.
That's the sort of games you see when you watch juniors play.
Yeah.
They get their rook out.
And then you tell them off for playing like that. Yeah.
So. And if you're playing people that you don't know, or they don't know you, they just think you're an idiot when you play moves like that. So and maybe they're not wrong. But in this game, he didn't do it. We went go all the way back. He went instead of bishop b2, he went c4. So I went a4 anyway, and he took it.
Oh.
Well, you're a pawn down already.
And that pawn stays there to the end of the game. I never do get it back. So now I thought, well, I've disrupted the normal flow of the game. I can get back to normal, just play normal moves again. But he hasn't got his solid pawn structure on the queen side that he used to. So I just went g6 now. He went knight c3, and I went bishop g7, and he went d4. And I castled. So it's just gone back into normality now. E3. Normality for a while anyway. And now I thought, well, I've weakened his long diagonal, so let's try and soften it up. So c5, just trying to open that diagonal for my bishop. And he just went bishop e2. So I went cd4. And he could take with the knight, but then his pawns are rather shattered on the queen side. So he plays ed4, and now I played d5, and I'm trying to leave him with an isolated d pawn, and he's got those shattered pawns on the queen side. So he castled.
This must be okay for black, mustn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. And now I took on c4. And he took back. And now I think this is the move. What would you play here? What strikes you as your options here?
G4.
Which one?
Bishop G4.
Bishop G4. I think that's the best move. And I think it was. I think that was equal. I think. And knight C6, same sort of thing. But I, because he'd weakened his knight on C3 isn't protected because the B pawn's gone away, and he's got his bishop on the same file. I thought, why not go Queen C7 and try and embarrass him along the C file?
Yeah.
But that one, the computer didn't seem to rate that move particularly. It liked Bishop G4 better. But I thought this was throwing the game more off balance. So he went Queen B3. So aiming on my F7 pawn, but it's protected at the moment. So I went Knight C6 with the idea of going to A5 to hit the Queen and the Bishop, winning a piece. That's the threat. So he now. Sorry?
Does it win a piece?
Knight A5 would win because it attacks the Queen and the Bishop and attacks the Bishop.
Oh, yes.
So that's the threat. So he went Knight B5, hitting my Queen.
This one and B5, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry.
And I now went Queen B6, hitting the D pawn. But that knight on B5 again, that stays there for a long time. That's protecting his D5, his D4 pawn. So I've got pressure. So and I'm now still threatening Queen A5 to get rid of that dangerous bishop. So after quite a long thought, he was thinking quite a lot here. So he was quite a bit. He was 10, 15 minutes behind on the clock maybe. And then he came up with what moves would you consider here? He came up with that's a move I was expecting. I might play the Knight A5 anyway then.
Yeah, but at least he's got his rooks connected.
Does Bishop F4 work?
Yeah, I like Bishop F4 to come to C7 to be annoying.
Yeah, that's I could play. I might still play Knight A5 and whisk off one of his bishops.
Yeah.
So that's what he was worried. Obviously, he thought about it and he was worried about losing one of his bishops. So he played another move. Any guesses?
I don't know. Did he play Bishop E2, something like that?
Bishop E2 was a move I thought he might play, but it's
No, not that one.
taking it away from an active position. I'll probably play Bishop E6 and get my bishop to D5 then. If you do that.
Well, what about What about D3 then? Bishop D3. Is that a move?
Same move, Bishop E6 probably, and then I get my bishop on D5, and it's quite powerful there.
Bishop E3 hints at D5, but seems
that's then I've still got Knight A5.
Yeah.
So
Does Bishop F7 work?
Bishop F7, then I just take it.
Knight G5.
I'll probably play E6.
Okay, yeah, it's good enough. Sorry, yeah, that doesn't work.
Well, I mean, I did consider. I was wondering if he might give another go, but I felt it was all right.
No, it's not good enough.
So the move he played is quite a surprising move, as you haven't actually managed to come up with it yet. The move he played was Queen D1, which was basically trying to save his bishop on. So if I attack his bishop, I think he wants to go back to B3 with the bishop, and if I take it with so if I go Knight A5, he'll probably play Bishop B3. And then if I take his bishop, he connects his pawns up, and then he really is a pawn up.
But you wouldn't do that, would you?
No.
No, I didn't do that.
No.
But here I thought, I was a bit rash here. I thought he'd gone about sort of 20, 25 minutes, maybe more behind on the clock. And I thought I didn't think much of Queen D1. I thought that can't be right. So I should play the move that's been suggested by you guys, bishop g4, should play that. Put pressure on his pawn, on his d4 pawn. But I decided to mix it up, and I whacked in e5.
Nice.
Which when I put it in on the computer, it went down to from a vaguely equal position. I think I was down to about -3 now after that move.
Wow.
It was a good move to me.
Why is it a good move?
Well, I was just trying to open up the set. If he takes it with the pawn, I was going to play, I think, knight g4, and then I'm opening up my bishop is aiming at his rook in the corner, and I thought there might be some.
He'd just move it to rook to b1. I don't know why he's put his queen back to d1 though. That seems strange. He could have gone d3 or somewhere else to keep his rooks a bit more.
Well, I probably would have hit it with bishop f5 then.
Yeah.
It isn't really a square for it. So here I thought, well, yeah, this is kind of what I envisaged. However, I overlooked his. I didn't really consider the move he played. He didn't take it. He played what I realised straight away was a strong move.
d5?
Not d5, no. I mean, that might be good as well, but it wasn't that.
What about just something dull like bishop b2? Is that?
He could do that. Probably.
Bishop e3.
Bishop a3, I think.
Bishop a3.
Bishop a3. That's the move. Yeah.
Oh.
I think James did that, and that's quite an aggressive. Suddenly, my f7 looking rather.
Yeah. Very good.
So
and bishop could get into c5, couldn't it, if it wants?
c5. The knight can hop to d6. So I thought, well, I thought about sacrificing the exchange, but I thought then I've still got a bad position and the exchange down, so I better struggle on. So I moved the rook to d8, and now what do you think? What do you think you should do now?
Ooh.
Can you go d5 now?
Could do. I'd probably play knight a5. I think his bishop.
Wow, yeah.
Still like white a lot.
Well, both knight d6 and knight g5 look a bit tempting.
Yeah. If you go knight d6, I think I might just have to play rook d7 maybe. And I'm kind of threatening knight a5, and then I'm covering my queen attack on the knight as well. So
knight g5 though.
Knight a5, yeah. So if you go there, I could play.
Is it better to go knight g5 first?
Knight d8.
Could go knight d8, yeah.
But you're tying yourself in knots. I mean,
yeah.
This could have been avoided.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? So I think it just proves that my move was it didn't play that knight d6. So I think I might have had something slightly better than what I just did there, but
yeah,
still,
it doesn't look.
I think it's good. I think it's good for white, whatever I do. So, but he didn't do that. What else do you think he might have done?
Bishop c5.
Yeah, and then I suppose I play queen a5. Doesn't actually do anything particularly for white, does it? It's making the position more solid, but I'm going to maybe take his pawn on a4 next, unless you.
Can you come back to your old friend queen b3?
Yeah. Yeah.
b3.
Yeah, it's b3.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good again. I think.
Something's going to fall from the sky, as the poet says. I think.
Yeah.
What about a rook b1 earlier?
Well, anytime he does that, I'll go bishop f5, hitting the rook.
Lots of scope for rook moves.
This is looking good again. So, but it's
Yeah,
not what he played. It's not after bishop a3, d8.
Oh,
so he did play bishop a3, and you played rook e8.
Rook d8.
sorry.
Oh,
And now white to play. What did he play?
Oh, did he take on f7 immediately?
He did.
Wow, that looks quite good actually.
He's going for it. I'll tell you in a minute what I said. So
You
yeah,
weren't
he took that.
expecting that, were you?
I wasn't expecting that. In fact, I was actually quite relieved because I realised I'd made a mistake with e5 and the bishop a3 was very strong, and I thought I was just going to get ground down, maybe a pawn or two down. So at least it created some obscurity in the position, which even if I was losing, I felt I had a chance because it was unclear. So I wasn't unhappy to see it. I was worried, but I wasn't unhappy to see it because I thought, well, at least I'm a piece up. I've got a piece now. So I briefly considered king h8, but then I thought, well, I'm just 2 pawns down and worse. So I thought I've got to take it. So I take it. And it took me, and now what I was worried about here was the move queen b3 check, and then it's awkward because he's got he's kind of threatening a knight d6 discovered check, hitting my queen, winning my queen. You see what I mean? So for example, if I play bishop e6. As well as knight g5 check, he's also got knight d6 check, winning my queen.
Yeah.
So, so I do have
embarrassment of riches.
King e1.
King e1 is possible, but I do have king e1. No, knight.
You've got the knight check again.
Knight check anyway. Yeah.
Got the knight check. As well as yeah.
So I do have a move here.
Knight d5.
Knight d5 is the move, yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked him afterwards, because he thought for quite a long time now. I asked him afterwards, did he overlook that move? And he said, no, he saw it, but he just thought it was good. And then I said, I thought maybe you had something a little bit more conservative to play rather than play this. And he said, it's not my style. So, yes, a last round game, nothing to play for particularly. So anyway, this is still very dangerous. And I mean, I was envisaging knight d6 check, and I was going to play a rook takes knight. And then if he plays bishop takes rook, I swap the queens off, and I've got 2 pieces against the rook. But he played a different move. What do you think he played here?
Knight g5 check.
No, didn't do that.
Okay.
That was another move, but I'll probably just retreat to g8.
How about, oh no, forget that.
How about rook fe1?
Yeah, very sensible, but I would probably just retreat my king back to g8.
G8?
And just try and get away.
Yeah, he has given up a piece. I mean,
what about rook d1? Probably the other rook.
So, I see what you mean. Yeah, I probably
it might be good to get it off the diagonal.
yeah, I might play king g8 anyway, and then if you play,
then pawn takes pawn threatens the knight, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then bishop e6 maybe.
And
then good old knight g5.
G5.
Yeah. And then maybe knight a5.
You can't expect us to be able to work all this out.
It's a very simple position, isn't it?
I'm a piece up, so at least I've got something to hang on for. I felt I was.
That's a good resource, knight a5.
Yeah. So he didn't play knight g5.
Oh, did this happen?
How would the
he didn't play rook d1 either. The clocks were. I was ahead on the clock. He had actually. He's probably about 15 minutes behind me.
Right.
So,
Well, there's bishop c5 again, perhaps, followed by knight c7. Or can you play knight a? Or can you play knight a5 anyway? Oh goodness.
No, that probably loses. He probably gets the piece back with queen takes knight check, and then bishop takes queen.
Oh,
I'll probably go queen a5 again. If you did that.
oh, yeah. Sorry, for some reason I didn't think you could go to a5. I wonder why. Probably senility.
That's my one square.
Yeah.
So no, that wasn't it. So he played a good move here. It's sort of he plays a move that undermines my knight on d5. He intercepts it.
Knight c3.
No.
Your queen swap there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like. Wow. At least it undoubles the pawns, Colin.
It does. You always look for the positives.
Mitigating circumstances, that one. Yeah. Okay.
A move that undermines the knight on d5.
Yeah.
Well,
You're not playing.
It intercepts its defense.
ah,
Oh, that's clever.
knight d6 again. We're
Or
talking
bishop d6.
bishop.
Bishop D, yeah, knight d6. I play rook
Yeah,
takes bishop.
bishop.
Knight.
Bishop.
Yeah. Which
Bishop
threatens-
d6.
Yeah, it threatens.
Yeah,
bishop
okay,
c6,
good move. Mm.
and it threatens the knight. So.
Oh yes, it.
So I took that. I'm not sure taking it was. I think when I looked at it, I think the computer said a different move, like knight e7 or something. But I actually took it with the rook. No, I think the computer just decided to give that piece back on d5. But I decided to play rook takes d6.
Mm.
And he took that back with check. And now my knight's on free, so I've only got one square for the king.
Whoa.
Oh, Lord.
What about knight g5 now?
Please, no, I'll take the knight.
Oh, of course you do. Yeah.
And I'll take the queens off if he gives me a chance. So
Yeah.
he's got one move to keep the queens on and save the knight, which is the knight back to b5.
Oh.
So sorry, knight b5, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, just
So at the time, I remember thinking this is a bit like the fried liver attack, if you all know what that is, where the king comes out to e6, trying to hold on to a knight on d5.
Yeah.
So I'm still a piece up, and he's got how many pawns he's got for it? 4, 6. He's got two pawns for a piece. Is that right? Oh no, two. He's got two.
Two
pawns,
pieces for a rook. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 pawns and a rook for a bishop and knight. No, for 2 bishops. So I was feeling that I was in trouble. I think you probably all would. So I've got to guard that knight. I think knight g5 is a threat now, somebody was saying before. So I've got to worry about that. So I went knight c to e7 to support that knight. And then I was going to try and run away with the king, given half a chance. And I was kind of expecting knight g5 check here. Wasn't too happy about my prospects, but it's one of the moves he played relatively quickly. He just went knight takes e5, which is also
Okay, so, well, it's fairly tempting.
taking a pawn, opening up the centre. So,
Why not play one of his rooks to e1 at that point?
What,
I would have preferred that, but
Looks strong.
well, he's going to, isn't he?
it's going there in a minute.
Yeah.
So
If he-
really, after a bit of thought, I thought, well, I've got to take that knight because it's cutting off my escape routes. There's nowhere really for me to escape. So bishop takes knight. And now you played your move, rook fe1.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't I knew I've got to get out there. So king f7.
He is slightly running out of pieces, isn't he, to attack you?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Rook takes e5. He has got.
Why not pawn takes? Better pawn structure.
You've got the you got
he's
tactics
got-
on with the
he's
knight
got the double
on
attack.
D5, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, on D5.
I've
Rook
just,
E1 rook
I've
A
just
to B1
got
to follow, perhaps.
Yeah, he's more blocked up there, and I can put my king on G7. I think I'm safer there. So I think the rook takes is the best move, I think.
okay.
And I now, so he's attacking the D5 knight. So I went bishop E6, protecting it.
The other rook over.
No, the other rook over, hitting my bishop. And now I've got my my first real result, my first counter attack of the game. What do you play now? He's threatening rook takes bishop.
Hmm.
And if I move the bishop, he threatens rook takes knight after, which because I've got the other knight's pinned then.
You got to play knight F4, haven't you?
Then he still plays. Does he still play rook takes bishop?
Well,
Sure.
Knight F5 now.
Knight F5. Then what now? Then rook takes bishop.
Oh, yeah.
Rook C8.
Yeah, who said that?
Julian.
hello,
Yeah,
Julian.
rook C8
Threatening.
counter attack.
Oh,
Yes.
Why is that so?
back rank.
If rook takes bishop, queen takes rook, rook takes queen, rook C1 mate, or will
Yeah.
be mate.
Yeah. Clever.
Whoa.
Ouch.
So that was that's given me time to get my pieces. So he now played H3 to give his fight square, and now I went rook C6. I've got my kind of blockade in. I've got my pieces coordinated a bit now, and so he went queen F3 check, and I went king G7, and then he went queen E4 piling up on the bishop. And I dropped that knight back to F6 to hit the queen.
Interesting.
And,
What? Oh, yeah.
I think he was getting. I think we're getting down to sort of less than 10 minutes each now. Oh, I had more, so he was down to less than 10 minutes. I was probably on 20. So I think he went. He now went back to F3. I think. Just
Why
to-
not keep on the E file?
Yeah, I was wondering that.
E3 or E2? Oh, sorry, he went to E2, did he?
No, I'm putting it on the board, Martin.
We're just
Right.
examining it.
Yeah, just looking at it.
Why?
I think
Actually, I've got score sheet.
being
Queen equals-
roasted over a spit here.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you go back to Queen E4? I didn't play knight F6,
Right.
so I played King F7
Mm-hmm.
in the bishop. So and he now went H4, trying to open up my king position. What's everybody think? Who would you prefer to be, white or black?
White could have got a draw if he'd gone Queen F3 again, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think I would have taken the draw if he'd done that.
All right.
So I'd have to favour White then.
Yeah.
Well,
It's 3 pawns now, isn't it?
Yeah,
The pressure on E6 and E7 is huge, isn't it?
it is, yeah. So
if it wasn't, he would be losing full stop, wouldn't he?
but the one factor in my favour is the clock start times now, because he was starting to hoover towards his last 5 minutes, and I was probably on 15. So that was my my slight advantage. So he went H4, trying to open it up. So now I went F6, knight F6.
Sorry, Andrew, why did he go H4? Why didn't he go something more aggressive like G4, F4, F5?
Yeah, he I think certainly F4 was particularly on the next move even, but this one that's I mean, it can't quite get through at the moment, can it? But G4 first, but then
G4.
Well, I suppose he's got to watch out that I don't get my pieces in behind and get, so say, Queen A5 and Queen down to D2, and I might come round the back, and then Rook C2. I might double on this. I might get my pieces round to his 7th rank, my Rook and Queen. So he's got to be a little bit careful. And I think he, because he was short of time, he probably didn't have time to work it out properly. So I think he, H4. He's trying to play H5 and swap those pawns, take pawns away from my king. So yeah, that's probably a reasonable move. So I went Knight F6 to stop H5, and he went Queen F3, and then I went Knight E D5.
He's gone on to the F file again instead of keeping on the E file. It's interesting.
Yeah, and he's blocked the F pawn, which would have been sort of, the other way of opening up. So now he went a sort of a funny nothing move. He went Queen G3, which maybe he's thinking of moving the F pawn. I don't know. He went Queen G3 now.
He's wasted a couple of moves, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's kind of lost the thread a bit. I think he was expecting to have won by now, and because he hasn't won, he's now he's surprised the game is still going on, I think.
Oh,
So and I think
It's
he's
a difficult game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's hoping that I'll start using up my time now. He's probably thinking, I'll play Queen G3, it doesn't threaten anything, and I'll put some pressure on and maybe I'll use up some time. So I just decided to play a solid move like
Queen A5.
I went King G7. I want to bring my bishop off the E file. I've got the other knight off the E file. Now get the bishop off the E file. So he now went H5.
He definitely should have kept his queen on the E file, shouldn't he?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Then you couldn't have done what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he should. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he should do really. I've dropped the bishop back to F7, so he's now down to less than 5 minutes, I think, and I'm probably on about 12 minutes or something. And he now went HG. I mean,
He didn't have to do that, did he?
he didn't have to. He might have wanted to keep the option of playing H6 check at some point, which I probably wouldn't have done HG, but he did that. I don't think he's really I think he's more a clear-cut strategic player, and I think when it becomes random, I'm not so sure that's his real style. I don't know. So HG, I took that with the pawn, and then he went queen back to F3 again. Now I think he should probably play F4 here rather than that, and try and play F5. That's probably makes more sense. The Queen F3 doesn't really do anything in particular. So I thought I would bring my queen back into more nearer the king. So I went Queen D8. Just so I'm quite rock solid now. So he's got 3 pawns and a rook against a bishop and knight. But as Colin was saying earlier, he's starting to run out of pieces a bit. It's not so clear cut.
That's why you needed to throw the pawns at you, because you're running out of pieces. You've got to get those pawns moving.
I mean, his position hasn't changed much. He hasn't improved it. Whereas all my pieces have got a better place than they were sort of 10 moves ago, aren't they? My pieces are more coordinated than they were. Whereas
King's safe.
Yeah,
He can't bring that knight from b5 across the king side easily, can he? So
yeah, it's like that knight's out of it at the moment, and even if he moved it, he'd lose his d4 pawn probably. So yeah, so he's sort of running out of ideas and running out of time now. So he just went G3. I think maybe he's thinking of bringing his rook to H1 and try and do something on the H file, and he's trying to make his king safer, maybe. I went Queen D7. So controlling the G4 square. I might play Queen H3 and Knight G4, threaten mate myself. So he stopped that with King G2.
Which you
now
was going to do anyway, I suppose.
And now I played knight g4 just as a move. We're both starting to get short, so it's a move. And he went the obvious rook back to e4. And then I reflected. I was trying to get my rook to f6, but I can't actually get it there because my knight's on prise now on g4. So I decided, let's just consolidate, just go back again. Okay, that last move wasn't so good, so let's just go back, knight f6. I was kind of expecting him to go back to e5, but he shot the rook over to h4, trying to mate me on the h file now. So I now went knight e7. Now I've got ideas of bishop d5. That's what I thought. Well, that king and queen are on the diagonal.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anywhere of moving the knight that was better. That would, so knight e7.
Knight c7 to swap off that knight, or not worried about that?
I'm not sure I want to swap that knight off particularly. It's not doing anything.
I think he must be getting far more of a fight than he could have anticipated before the game started, and also say after 10, 12 moves, after a5, a4.
Yeah, I think he would have been wary of playing me because we've played many times in the past. He's got a plus score, but I have beaten him.
Well, this is it. In the weekend, you know, just a fast time limit game. I'm not belittling it. I'm just trying to keep it in perspective.
Yeah, I think he would have been disappointed at the game. He'd be surprised the game is still going and getting perhaps a bit frustrated that.
Yes, I do think so.
Yeah, knight e7 is a great move, isn't it?
So he now went queen f4, aiming for queen h6 check and queen h8 mate. So that's to be taken seriously. So I ploughed ahead with my idea of the check. So I went bishop d5 check.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't. I went knight f5 actually. Sorry, to stop the cover the h6 square and hit his rook.
You're slowly manoeuvring all your pieces all much better and towards the king.
Yeah, because my king was quite exposed. It had no cover really, and now suddenly I've got all my pieces over there.
Yeah.
And things are looking better. So I was much more optimistic now. I was playing for the win now. I've always been playing sort of for the win, but it can go either way now, the game, basically, whereas I was losing. So now he goes rook h1.
Oh dear.
Gone on to the diagonal. So
isn't that a bit surprising? Wouldn't he like the option of doubling rooks or even threatening to double rooks, even if he doesn't do it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really like his queen d1. That looks so retrograde.
In a way, although as it happened, it turned out all right because he's connecting his rooks. So I now went bishop checks on d5, and he has to now play f3. And well, that's what I was thinking about, rook c2, and then he just goes king g1, and I thought, well, what's my follow-up?
Well, your rook's better there than on c6, isn't it?
I think if all you wanted was a draw, I think you'd offer it now.
But what do I do with it?
You could take the a pawn.
I could take the a pawn, but then he might start bringing his pieces in. What about if he does g4, and then he's got queen h6 coming? That's what I was worried about.
Yeah, he definitely should have done g4 earlier, shouldn't he?
At move one, probably.
Yeah, so this will be bad for me, I think.
Yeah.
What's the other move I vaguely thought of, which is knight g4, because if he plays queen takes knight.
Oh my God! Even Tal would have overlooked that. Yes.
Knight e3 check, and then rook takes knight, queen takes queen. And he's,
Oh, that's clever.
Vicious.
Yeah.
With your flag up.
but
That's
knight,
good.
he doesn't have to take it. And I wasn't quite sure what the knight G4 actually did. And I was
Instead of taking it, can white play just play Queen H3, sort of play King H3 instead?
yeah, played something else. Well, like King H4, Knight F2 check then. But
No, you play Queen G4, Knight E3, King H3.
Knight takes Queen.
Mm.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so if he takes it, he loses his queen, but he doesn't have to take it. I think I wasn't quite sure whether it was doing anything there, and I thought it's better just to try and keep my coordination. So in the end, I decided not to play that, and I played Rook E6 just to take away his attacking pieces, and that was the theory. But he surprised me now with a clever little move. Any suggestions what he might play now?
Rook C1.
That looks like an interesting move. I suppose that's not what he played. I suppose I played Bishop C6, I suppose.
What about Rook E5?
Rook E5, what, the idea of Rook takes knight and then Queen H6 check, is that your idea?
No, I don't have an idea at all. I just wondered whether you could play it. I'm a very weak player, Andrew. You should know that.
It's quite an interesting idea, though, isn't it? Rook takes knight.
It is, yeah, I mean, he didn't play that, but that would have been that would have made me think. I think so. He didn't play that. It's a good try. So it wasn't that move.
You play Knight C7 here.
Yeah, that's it. Whoever said that. Tony, he brings the knight. Knight finally returns to the game.
Oh, sugar puffs.
Yeah.
I've moved my rook away, so he's got the chance to bring it back. So I thought, well, I'll take the rooks off now because
that's what he wanted, wasn't it? He wanted you to do that.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough then.
So he's kept control of the E file now. So
So Rook E6 was probably a mistake, was it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, it might not have been the best move. I don't know. Maybe my Knight G4 idea was better after all. That tricky move. So I was a bit concerned again now because he's got his rook on the open file. I realised now my rook was probably more valuable than his rook because it was defending. So I decided, well, I may as well I was down to less than 5 minutes now, so we're down. So so I just decided to take the A2 pawn move because the knight's threatening the bishop. So let's just take the pawn.
Oh.
And now he played
Knight
he played quite a nice move now. He kind of he tries to get control back of the position. He ties me up a little bit with the next move. He does a pin.
G4? Oh no. Well, no, not G4.
G4 is a possibility, but he
no, it's not. I don't like it. He doesn't have to.
he played quite a nice sort of move into, when we're short of time. He played Queen E5, pinning my knight.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Preference G4, doesn't it, and G5?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of if I move my queen away, say Queen takes D4, for example. Queen takes D4.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
To say, then he's got the clever 98 neck because my
Well, how about? Oh yeah.
So I mean, whether it works, but it's sort of in the air. We're both short of time now, so I didn't do that.
Queen E5, Rook E5.
So that would have been that's so I didn't do that. So Queen goes back to I just decided to play King F7, unpin that knight.
Yeah.
And he now shorter time, he went D5. Trying to cut my bishop out of the game, I think, and maybe trying to get the knight back to E6 and to G5 check, maybe. So he's trying to get that knight in, perhaps, but maybe push the pawn to D6 if he gets a chance. But it is actually only defended twice, and I'm attacking it 3 times. So whether he realised that, I don't know. But I thought, well, let's just take that off, and I took it with the bishop. Bishop takes D5, and then he took that with the knight, and I took that with the knight.
Oh, sorry.
And now he went.
It's still an interesting game, isn't it? You're threatening. Oh, well, maybe you're not threatening.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of.
Yeah.
Rook
Still go either
B1.
way. But if I win his A pawn, I might be able to win my B pawn now.
Is knight E3? Oh no, it isn't. What an idiotic comment.
Yeah,
No, it isn't.
I mean it's a possible sort of in the air, isn't it?
It's in the air, but it's not possible at the moment. Yeah.
He now played G4.
G4.
Hey, eventually he played G4. Should have played that about 15 moves ago.
I said that.
So I retreated that to E7, knight FE7, and then he went Rook E4. So and I think when he played 1 or 2 of these moves, he went down to 1 second before he made the move. So with the 10-second increment, he came back up to 11 seconds, and I was on about a minute and a half. So I was coming down. So we were the last game to finish.
Was this the last round as well, Andrew?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
2 last games to finish in the hall were me and the guy beside me.
Was there any money riding on this?
I don't think so. I don't think we were playing for the money. We were just playing for the
No,
prize.
I didn't mean that detrimentally. I just meant in
No.
terms of the prizes.
I don't think so. I mean, we didn't know. I don't think, because it depends how the other results had gone. But
Okay,
as it turned out, I think I was 4th, and he was behind me.
second.
So now I went. I was a bit worried about him pinning that knight, I think. So and I just wanted to get my queen somewhere, threatening something. So he's gone Rook E4 to guard the A4 pawn, I think, partly. So I played Queen C6 now, just maybe getting some checks around the back. And he then played Queen H8.
Interesting move.
Threatening, I don't know, Queen H7 check. And at this point, I was just mulling it over. I probably had just under a minute left, and I was about to play knight. I was thinking of playing knight F6 check, and then the controller came in and started fumbling around with the clock, and then pushed the stop button. And both me and Peter Large were, what's going on? And he didn't say why he was doing it. He just said sorry, and he just sort of busted in. I think that's because the game was going beside us. That was still in the quick play as well. And then he said that White had lost on time in making Queen H8. He just made it too late, and his time had run out.
Oh,
Oh.
So he lost on
dear.
time.
Okay.
But how come you needed telling? I don't understand. I haven't played with these clocks for. Wasn't it obvious to you?
Well, you have to look at the clock, and if he played a move like Queen H8, and you're thinking that looks dangerous. I'm looking at the position. I'm not really looking at the clock. And he'd gone so close a few times that it's better just to concentrate on the game. But even if my clock had run all the way down and I lost as well, it would still be obvious that his one went first, I think. With those
So the controller told you, or told both of you, that White had lost.
Yes.
And that's allowed, is it? For the
Yes.
Yeah. In
The clock
tournament.
will indicate which flag had fallen, as Andrew pointed
Sure.
out. If the game had continued, both flags had fell. The clock will still indicate that White's flag had fallen first.
But, interesting.
I think the arbiters are supposed to do that even
Yeah,
in slow play
Wasn't
games.
there.
Yeah,
What if
they
the
don't-
arbiter wasn't there? What would have happened?
They would have carried on, but and then if both flags had gone, we would have.
Yeah, but what if you'd lost, Andrew? What if he checkmated you next move?
Then I lose. Checkmate ends the game.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. So the arbiter is, for example, if he had mate in 1 and the
Yeah.
arbiter comes along and says you've lost, White's lost in this instant. If you'd have played a move and then he'd mated you, White would have won.
Because
Checkmate ends the game. So if it hasn't been pointed out by the time that the checkmate is made, then checkmate ends the game.
So the arbiter is interfering with that process of
I
White.
think the arbiter is arbitering. He's doing his job. So
Yeah, he's allowed to do it.
It's certainly very arbitrary, but how can you administer checkmate if the game is over because you've lost on time?
Well, it hasn't been. It hasn't been pointed out.
Hasn't been claimed. Yeah.
I don't see why the claim is more important than the fact. Based on what Julien said, that the arbiter acted in this instance correctly.
I think
It would be different. What's the rule in rapid, Julian? Are the arbiters allowed to do it then? I know in blitz they're not.
No, they don't interfere in rapid. Rapid,
Right.
you've got to see it yourself.
Right.
Right. Okay. So this is an interesting point of rules, really, then, isn't it? Which I wasn't quite aware of. I mean, I get why, if the arbiter happens to be there and sees that somebody's lost on time, that he then says, "Okay, you've lost on time." But if he wasn't there and he didn't see, then it would have carried on, and it could have been a different result, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Why don't you do what Plaskett did at the Arc Masters and just argue for 2 hours when the prize giving is supposed to be taking place in the next room and the sponsors waiting? And despite the fact he only had a pawn and Summerscale had about 12 queens, Plaskett resigned, he still sat there and argued.
Oh, really?
So what was your assessment of the final position, Andrew?
Well, yeah, that's a good one.
Move?
Well, he said immediately, "Well, you're clearly better here."
Really?
Well, he was relatively okay about it because he felt Black was clearly not necessarily winning, but clearly better.
Almost for the first time, maybe.
I wasn't. I was still just playing the best moves I could find. That's all.
Can we stick an engine on, Colin?
Yes, please.
Because I would say White. I wouldn't have thought. I don't know.
I don't think I like Queen H8 then.
I don't particularly think Black's better.
unless you're trying to go for perpetual here. That's
No.
why.
No, I don't think. I think he had
But
more
Black is
ambition than
better.
that.
Okay.
So what's
It's fairly even then, isn't it? Is the answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, in the bottom line, that is.
What does it say? I can't see what it says.
That's
-1, Black slightly better.
Right.
But he doesn't appear to be making progress. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not enough, is it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It is interesting. It's also
Well, not
surprising.
only an interesting game, but an interesting ending with some
Well,
chess tournament rules, I think, coming out that I didn't know. So that's we live and learn.
Yeah. So that was a good result for me anyway.
Yeah.
It was a great game. Really
Yeah,
interesting
well
game.
done.
Difficult game throughout.
Brilliant. Shall we take a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes break at this point? Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen this.
Okay,
position
this is my
before.
round 1 game from St Albans. Played Marcus Gosling. During lockdown, I played Marcus a couple of times online in the tournament that Surrey organised. They organised a couple of tournaments, so I played him before. Marcus has also set up the Epsom Chess Club out from scratch.
Oh, wow.
That
So
was
he's a
great.
cracking young player. Anyway, the game opened. I'm white. So white, I played E4, E6, D4, D5. Now, in the years since I switched to E4, which is about, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe about 10, 12 years ago, I've been playing the Tarish. But I've recently switched in the last month or so to playing E5. So I play E5 here. Basically, I'm following Gawain Jones's book, where I'm hoping for the Hector variation. But
Which is
every
what?
time I play this, it turns out there's so many lines that black can play as in the advanced. I mean, it's incredible how many moves I've had played against me. Marcus played knight e7, which is a bit unusual.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Keane played this move.
I've never seen that move.
I played c3. So I assumed he was going to play c5 at some point, and the d4 pawn needs supporting. He played b6.
Yeah, this is.
Now, I assume that he's trying to set up a bishop a6 idea at some point to exchange the right square bishops, but he can't do it straight away because I can take and play queen a4. But I didn't want to play bishop d3 because I waste the tempo. So I was looking for a waiting move to play at this point. And this is the first time I've had this position, so I'm not too sure what's happening. And so I played knight f3 to wait. Now he played queen d7. So now he's just bishop a6 idea.
Julien, instead of knight f3, you could. What about
and
you could play bishop b5 check, and then and then obviously if he puts his bishop in the way, he can't then get it to a6.
Yeah,
And
Andrew's right. This follows a game between
so
Andrew.
bishop d7.
Sorry.
What do he plays? Bishop d7.
Yeah, but that wrong foot's the bishop, doesn't it? Because of the fianchetto.
Okay.
And if he plays
He plays knight d7.
knight where, then he can't he can't play knight a6, bishop a6 anymore now.
If he plays c6 instead of knight d7.
C6 looks better.
Actually, this maneuver is very well known in the French, but because of the move order, the knight on e7, black is slightly better than he would normally be.
Okay. Well, anyway, and when I looked up afterwards, knight f3 is the recommended move. So
okay,
it can't be rotten, can it?
No, it can't be wrong.
queen d7. Now again, I'm looking for a waiting move. It turns out I should have played bishop d3 here, but I played bishop f4.
Oh no!
do you not want to keep that bishop that light square bishop, Julien?
Yeah, but you can't stop him doing this.
On the another,
sorry,
I'd say another idea would have been to put the bishop to d3 and then drop it back to c2, and then go knight e2. Yeah,
I should have played bishop d3. But anyway, bishop f4 was played. Bishop a6. I took it. Knight a6. Now here I wasn't sure whether to play queen e2 or queen d3. I suspect queen d3 is better, but I played queen e2. Knight went back to b8. I played knight b d2 here.
So black's got the favourable exchange of the bishops, but he's wasted time doing it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is.
I think the idea is to go to
This
c6 and a5 and c4.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
plan. This is how Heidenfeld would have played it. I mean, that's endorsement enough.
Okay, anyway, c5. I castled. King side. Knight b c6. Okay, so now he's putting pressure on d4. And he's got knight f5 coming, which I was anticipating. So I played rook a c1 because I thought maybe the c file was going to open up.
What about an alternative plan? Yeah, take that.
Yeah, but I didn't like the mobile pawn center.
And then c4.
You get to pass a pawn.
When you go d4, then you've got knight e4 then.
But that's quite playable. Yeah.
You've got quite a nice.
White's got
nice-
a
nice
decent
attacking
leading
midfield.
development.
It's quite a nice, potentially a nice attack there.
Black is alive. No, it's okay. If you're happy, in the French, then you'll be happy in this. If you're not,
Well, happy in which side?
well, either really. What I'm trying to say is neither player is as.
Oh yeah, still all to play for.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
So knight f5, and I was expecting knight f5. I had a plan against knight f5.
You play rook c1.
So rook c1, knight f5. What did I play here?
G4.
No.
Yeah, I played g.
Oh no. Oh.
That's okay.
Why not? It's good.
Why not? My always pieces on the queen side. He can't get my king very easily. He went back to e7. If he'd gone to h6, I wasn't sure where it was going to take. I think I probably wasn't going to take on h6, but then his knight's not really. I could play h3.
Yeah, H3's all right.
Knight's a bit offside. So he went back to e7 anyway. Queen d3. Now I decided I really wanted my queen on d3, so I went to d3.
Why do you want your queen on d3?
Actually, well, I was trying to avoid. If he took on d4, I wanted to take back with the knight and not the pawn.
Okay.
I didn't like the structure with the pawn on d4. I was trying to avoid that structure.
I think you should overprotect the e pawn. Otherwise, knight g6 comes with a vengeance.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I think Black also has got moves like h5 coming in at some point, which can be a bit.
Okay, so I
awkward,
played
yeah.
queen d3. He played h5.
So sorry, he didn't take the pawn.
No, he didn't take. No, that didn't happen. No, I was just saying. I played queen d3 to stop this.
Right. Okay.
So h5, h3, knight g6. Now I drop the bishop back to g3. Because if he plays h4, then it just closes down the king side, and my bishop goes to h2. He didn't play that. He played bishop e7. I played king g2. The idea is if he takes on g4, I'm going to swing the rook to the h4. King g2.
Have you got a plan here? What's your plan, Julian? What's your plan? How are you intending to make progress?
Open up the center. I'm looking, but to get pieces who I want, which on better squares than the one now. Like the rook on f1, I want to move somewhere. I consider the possibility. I was thinking about different ideas. So I was thinking about moving the rook, playing knight f1 and knight e3 was one idea.
Okay.
Maybe
move the f3 knight and play f4, f5.
Another idea I'm looking at is whether I can play c4 at some point.
Yeah.
Another idea with my queen on d3 and his knight on g6. I've got a long-term plan. Maybe I can get rid of his f-pawn, and then I can play queen g6. But anyway, that's just a bit of a dream. Anyway, I think he played rook c8 here. Right. I can't read my writing. Oh yeah, I played a3. I thought he was going to take on d4 and play knight b4. So I thought that might be. So I thought, well, let's say I played CD, then he might play knight b4. So I thought I'd stop it with a3.
Yeah.
He played a5. Rook f3-1.
Julien, I like Andrew mentioned it in King's Indian and things. You always move the knight and then f4 and then f5 looks good. So did you not have that as a plan at all?
I didn't think of that. I didn't like the idea of opening up my king side even further. I mean, plus he hasn't castled yet. I'm not sure where his king's going.
Well, it's not going. It's not casting queen side now, is it?
He can start running with his king or something, but I don't really consider. I know that's a normal plan in this sort of French system, but that's not the plan I was looking at in this game.
Okay.
It's awkward for black because this isn't possible
Yeah,
without some preparation. It's not clear how it can be prepared. So,
he played Queen D8 here.
is he threatening to swap wood?
Well, I wasn't sure what he was up to.
I mean, it might be facetious, but he might be looking to play King D7 and find a home on B7 or something.
Yeah. So I decided that the C5 was never going to open, so I moved my rook to D1. Okay, rook C D1. Opposite is queen. Rook C D1. Where are we? What move? Okay, C4. He played C4 now. Okay, so I had a choice of where to put the queen. I could go to E3, E2, C2. But I'm still here. I'm still looking at this knight on G6. So I dropped the queen back to C2. He played B5. Now I made an over. What do you think I played here?
Did you think you were better, or what did you think of the position at this point when you were playing it?
I thought I was gradually getting worse because it's sort of not working out the way I wanted it to. I mean, for the last few moves, I've been looking at ideas of trying to play.
Yeah.
There.
What was that, Julien? I missed that.
Something funny's happened to my screen. Hang on. I've got it. Okay, right. Queen C. So yeah, before the last few moves, before he played C4, I've been looking at trying to play C4 myself, but I couldn't make it work. But at this point, I'm being gradually getting, I think, a little bit worse than I was previously.
Isn't that why you've got to attack on the king side with F4?
Yeah, well, I play B3.
Ooh.
Overlooking, well, I should have played B4 maybe, but I played B3.
Why not just leave it as it is on the queen side?
Nah, well, I was looking at the queen side.
Right.
Trying to stop him, this wave of pawns coming down the board. So B3, the A3 pawn on freeze. And he had a long thing. Yeah, did he decide whether the bishop was getting trapped or not if he played bishop A3? Meantime, I wasn't happy about the fact I left the pawn on freeze. I was trying to work out where my compensation was going to come from. And whilst he was having his long think, I worked out what I was going to do. So he played bishop A3. I took on C4.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
He played pawn takes C4.
Which one?
B pawn takes C4.
B.
And what did I play here?
Rook A1.
Queen A4, maybe?
Queen A4.
No. He just drops the bishop back to E7. He's got his pawn defended on A5.
Yeah.
Any more ideas?
Rook B1.
No. Okay, I took the pawn, knight C4.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, I was trying to make that work, but couldn't.
Yeah, I got as far as E6, I think.
Okay, then D takes C. Pawn D5.
Well,
Interesting.
He had a long think here, decided not to take the pawn. I mean, if he takes the pawn, I play E6.
Yeah. That's a cascade of pawns. That's
It's not as far as this is as far as I'd be able to calculate. I couldn't work out what he was going to play here.
I think that looks good for white now.
But
yeah.
he didn't get. But this didn't happen. So he.
Interesting.
Well, it sort of looks good for white, but white's down a piece and a pawn.
Yeah, but what's black going to do next?
Newcastle.
Castles, I take the pawn on F7.
Oh, you got okay.
The knight's on G6, as it
Goes
always.
A7. I go knight. I can't go knight. Knight.
You could play pawn takes pawn, actually, probably.
You've got
No.
Queen F.
Queen
You've got Queen
F5
F5.
here.
Yeah,
Queen F5.
Yeah.
taking D5.
And what, sorry? Oh, taking D5.
Yeah.
Got you. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Totally missed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, after pawn takes F7 check, you play King H7, I think. Guard the knight and get the king and say King H7 maybe.
You got GH5 there?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Or even a knight move. It's all good for white, I think.
Yeah, no, casting is completely inept. Who suggested it?
Yeah, we've got to find a move.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm
Hang
not.
on, this didn't happen, Julien, you said.
Queen takes.
Oh, sorry, no. Queen takes.
Queen takes.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah,
There's
no,
a
this
whole
is
plan
very
of 10
difficult
moves
to
earlier.
defend. Do we have to play a knight to E7?
Knight E7.
Pawn takes pawn, then queen F5.
Even knight G5 is knight G5 is a possibility here as well.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, it's a strong attack, definitely.
Anyway, he didn't allow this, so we can go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I can see why.
And D5.
Nice
Okay,
sacrifice. Knight
Okay,
C4.
Queen D7. Sorry?
Knight C4 was a good sacrifice.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, it looks like it, yeah.
They played Queen D7 here.
Did you have this sacrifice all lined up, Julien, from 3 or 4?
No. B3 had miscalculated. I'd overlooked the
Right.
pawn being loose in A3.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a long think. So as he was thinking, I was trying to work out what am I going to do. And I thought, oh, knight C4. Started analysing knight C4.
I think, Julien, when you write your book, you
And I was
you don't
trying to
feel you
work
left the
out what
pawn
he's
on
going to do
crease.
after E6. And I looked at castles and I looked at knight C7. And I just got around to looking at knight G7 when he took the pawn in A3. So
Yeah.
I decided I was going to go for it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I now took the knight.
Sorry, Julien. Bearing in mind he's just given up the knight, could he have rather than playing Queen D7, could he have just sacrificed his knight here? I don't know. Does that work at all? Knight takes pawn.
Pawn takes pawn still coming probably at some point.
But pawn takes pawn is queen's on freeze.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a bit
Well,
difficult.
There was knight. Sorry.
D5.
D5. Knight takes E5.
Sorry.
Yeah. Knight takes E5. Pawn takes pawn. Sorry. DE. Knight D3.
Oh, okay. That blocks the queen, doesn't it?
Yeah, we got pawn
Yeah,
takes
but-
double check.
Pawn takes F7.
King takes F7.
Queen A4 check, probably a move.
What's the point?
Because of that.
Queen A4.
Oh, actually,
Yeah,
okay.
Queen A4 check.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bishop's rather weak.
Yeah.
And it's check as well when you take, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That does it. That does it.
Yeah, so I was going to say that knight E1 check is actually a threat, but it isn't because you keep on taking the check. Yeah.
You have to bear in mind that if black can play knight E1 check, then the rook on D1 might not be protected. So
Yeah. Very complex. Was there any time issues here, Julien, or not?
Yeah, I was as much in the normal situation. I've got quite a bit of time left, and he's down to not much time.
Okay.
At some point in this game, he was running on virtually on increments.
Yeah.
I mean, from his point of view, the game suddenly changed from being pleasantly blocked to being quite unpleasantly open.
Yeah. Amazing.
Pawn takes C6. Queen takes C6. Rook A1 hitting the loose bishop. He now took on G4. Maybe captured on G4. Bishop E7. Rook takes A5.
So what are we materially now? You've got the pawn
It's all level.
Yeah,
back.
it's level again.
Level again. Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Knight h4 check.
Oops.
It'd been better putting his bishop there.
Well, that's not threatening anything.
Bishop takes bishop.
Bishop takes knight. I don't have to take it. If he plays bishop, I don't have to take his
okay.
bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop takes knight.
Just
He
prefer the
played
knight.
rook takes h. Yeah, he tried to exploit the pin here. He played rook h4.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense.
No, but I blocked the pin with queen e4.
Who's better here?
Queen e4.
By black, yeah.
Yeah. Rook e4. Now his rook has to go all the way back to h8. Now he can't castle. Rook a4, hitting his pawn. So a big swing in momentum in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Now he played f5, hoping I'd take it the wrong way. Because e takes f activates his bishop, but I played g takes f.
Yeah.
Plus I get a pass pawn, e takes f. Rook e to c4.
Yeah.
Rook takes c4. Rook takes c4. King d7. He's trying to get his rook active the other way. I mean, shorter time here. He probably could have. He might have had a better plan with g6 or rook f8. But anyway, king d7. Knight d4, hitting his pawn. Played rook h4 now, trying to exploit the pin.
Oh, did he? Okay.
G6.
Play d6. I'm going to go for mate. Play d6. King e8.
Okay.
Ooh.
Rook c8.
Oh,
Bishop g8.
knight C6.
Knight c6 ended the game.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Gosh, that fell apart quick, didn't it? Well
Yeah,
played.
it did.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, well played. I mean, you did stuff on the queen side, and it worked, didn't it? And then the push through the middle.
Yeah.
Knight c4, very good move.
Yeah. Let's have an action replay.
Yeah, that was a cascade of pawns, wasn't it? If I remember rightly. Takes.
Yeah, I mean, black looked like he had a cascade going, and then
I mean, b3 looks like a mistake, doesn't it?
Yeah. I should have played b4 just to block up the
You shouldn't have taken the pawn on a3 then, should he?
Yeah, bishop takes a3 presumably is a mistake.
well, unless
Have you
Is it
put
a-
the engine on? Have you looked at it on
I
the
haven't had
computer?
time yet to play it
Okay.
online.
So we could put the engine on before a3, couldn't we?
do we want to see that, or do we
Yeah.
want to?
Yeah, that'd be good.
So
Put the
put the engine on or not?
No,
Go
before
one move
b3.
back.
One move back.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
move back.
put the engine on here and see if the engine says b3 is good.
No, it's a terrible move.
I think you compromise your structure, don't you?
Well, you would think so. So at what point does it become a bad move? So b4. No, that's still bad. It's not.
Yeah, the knight's b4.
Yeah, but not particularly.
What's the score for b4? I can't see it.
Why can't you see it?
Minus 0.5.
Oh, it's too small on the screen.
It's gone up to minus 0.65 now.
It's all
That's
winning.
not very much. That's nothing.
It's all black slightly better, but nothing much in it. So let's do b3 now.
So is it C takes B that he has to play? Oh no, it says B takes A3.
B takes a3, better for black. It says.
Okay.
So let's.
It's going to be a few by sack now, isn't it? Okay, bishop a3.
Okay, it's seen the sack now with bishop takes a3.
Takes B3.
Yes, it's going for C takes B3.
Yeah, it's seen it, and it
But
isn't as
C takes B.
enthusiastic.
But it's still.
black is better.
I
Only
think
a
you
bit.
need to give it a few seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, these computers are quite slow compared to us human chess players.
Absolutely. Okay.
Hang on, what's it saying now?
No?
Did it spot knight takes c4? I didn't understand that.
It seemed to initially, then it fell off the radar a bit, and then it came
Okay.
back.
But now it's saying it's better for black, clearly better. D takes c4, clearly better. So white's push with the d5 isn't going to work.
Well, yeah, but it's
Well,
got to
hold on a second. It's only been a few seconds. Let's give it a little. Let's give it a nudge.
It's getting better for black.
Well,
That's
Yeah,
it.
coming up with king f8 straight away, isn't it? After
King
e6.
F8.
Yeah.
After e6. Yeah.
This is the sort of thing we don't notice, isn't it?
What's saying King F8 here?
Yeah.
It's saying king f8 now.
That's no. That's a hard move to find.
I suspect
Yeah.
its evaluation is going to change as it goes down the line.
Well, interestingly, I think you play king f8 and then knight c6 to e7,
Mhm.
and that pawn f7 then becomes part of black's defense.
Yeah.
So pawn takes pawn here.
Yeah. So I'll just giving it a chance to find a better move, but maybe there isn't one.
If you go knight C, knight C,
The only move I never looked at,
7,
King
you
I
play
see,
knight
so,
E4 then. So you play knight E7 now, then knight D4.
What's the assessment there?
I would
-1.
-1, -0.8. It doesn't. Yeah.
It's suggesting knight G7 now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems to be sticking with that. So I'm just giving it a few seconds.
Yeah,
because
no,
it
you're
does-
right to wait.
It does change its mind.
Yeah.
What about knight G5 now?
Yeah, I was wondering what's wrong with knight G5. It looks the computer. It doesn't even come on the computer's radar.
Because it's worse for white.
Well,
Putting
okay.
knight E6 check.
Yeah, it likes queen D7 and rook H6 here. But especially
Probably
queen
that
D7.
g pawn is a bit weak as well after queen d7. So.
How can knight rook H6 be any good?
Sorry, Julian.
So rook H6.
Well,
Well,
now.
there.
So he's giving the rook up for
Yeah.
2 pieces.
Reckons it's better for black. Who knows why?
Only 1 point.
Yeah, yeah. This is the trouble with computer analysis. You know, you trust it a bit too much.
I prefer white.
In a practical game, I'd rather have the white pieces here. But
Yeah, I mean that assessment is on finding really, really precise moves, which we, with us humans are just not going to see.
Yeah. Whereas white's position is a little easier to see and play.
why does it want white to play queen A2 here? I mean, just seems
Wrong
bonkers to
direction.
me.
Queen A. Why is Queen A2 better than Queen A4?
Absolutely, and yeah,
Why are you going over there anyway?
that was my thought. To be honest,
Actually, the bishop. Just driving the bishop to better square.
I'm just trying to read down the analysis, and I can't see another queen move. It's,
Well, it's, once that rook goes to, if the rook moves,
right.
Queen H7. Don't know if that does anything.
Let's just out of interest, let's see if a different engine comes to a different conclusion. That has been known.
have you got a preference for sort of really sharp tactical positions?
I always use stockfish.
I'll use this stockfish then. Yeah, the trouble is I've downloaded a few which don't really work very well. Okay, it still likes black.
So it likes it even more, doesn't it?
Yeah. Still wants to play queen A2.
Amazing.
Or knight G5. Or
Well, it's doing queen A2, then knight G5, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
it is actually. Yeah.
there's a reason for that, isn't there?
So let's stick the other one on. I've got a feeling that might crash my computer if I'm not careful. That one.
I just think it's sort of very naively just attacking a piece, and that's why he likes it. Perhaps.
Shall we go through what actually happened in the game?
Well, yeah,
I've forgotten where we were. So
he played Queen D7, if I recall.
Yeah.
you recall
And
well.
now it claims equality, but I think
Position is equal. Well, boy, it's slightly better now.
But very interestingly, its top line is pawn takes pawn. Well, as of when I stopped it, anyway. What's the idea then?
Well, white's better now.
White's better. You see, it does change its mind when you go down the line.
I think it's because you've got, you end up playing, two quite attacking moves in knight G5 and then Queen F5.
Right there, Queen E7.
Yeah, still technically pinned behind the king,
Queen
doesn't it?
E6.
With E6 coming in.
Oh no, knight G5, knight G5.
Castles.
Castle's pawn takes pawn.
And better for
Yeah, and the knight can't. Well, the knight can't move anyway. But even if
Yeah.
it could, you've got Queen H7.
amazing
Okay.
predictions.
Well, it is fascinating what computers find, isn't it?
Hmm.
So,
So what happened again? I've forgotten. So
well, pawn takes knight.
I think I see E6.
Yeah, but it said pawn takes E6 was better, perhaps. But
Hmm.
why would you play
Yeah,
that? So I think this position is pretty equal, which isn't unreasonable, is it?
no.
So I've forgotten what actually happened in the game, Julian. I'm lost.
But
Yeah, this happened.
Right.
Position.
Then what happened?
I don't know. Rook A1.
Rook A1 going after the A pawn.
Yeah.
Rook A5.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
No,
that's
I think he should have castled, which again looks fairly reasonable.
Well, it looks reasonable. On the other hand, it looks stupid when you've got a rook with an open.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
well, I was waiting for the castle that was going to swing Rook H1
Yeah.
and mate him. But probably an illusion.
Yeah. So what did black do?
Played
Oh, yeah. Knight up. Yeah.
knight H4. Rook H4.
Queen E4, all correct.
Yep.
Computer-approved moves. Yeah, I mean, he is losing that C pawn now, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, now white is better, and I think he's going to get better over time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the rook needs to come back into play, and he's losing the C pawn in the meantime. So probably didn't help. So on and so forth.
Mm.
Yeah, and this is obviously
Very good.
very difficult to hold. Yeah.
Good game, Julian.
Yeah. Great move though. That
Yeah.
knight C4, or whatever
Yeah.
the computer says.